Hello guys, it's the tutor, and in this video I'm going to be explaining the quotient rule used for taking derivatives and showing some examples to go along with it. So the quotient rule is used when you are trying to take the derivative of a function over a function, so a quotient between two functions. And once you encounter a case like that and you realize that you cannot simplify it, the derivative is simply so first you do g of x being the bottom function multiplied by the derivative of the top function, f prime of x. And then you subtract from that the original f of x multiplied by the derivative of the g of x, which is the bottom function. Divided by g of x and then that term squared, right? This formula is actually derived using the product rule. So if you want, you could go back and derive it for yourself. But basically what you would have to do is you would have to do f of x times g of x, but then g of x would be to the power of -1. And then you can derive this general formula here by taking the derivative of this, right? Actually, we can do it right here. So first we'd have f prime of x, right, times g of x to the -1, right? Then we'd have plus f of x times -1. Actually, you need the chain rule to be able to do this, but I'll show you anyways. Once you learn the chain rule, you can understand it. Times -1 times, so it'll be, and then it would be, so it'd be times -1 times g of x -2 times g prime of x. Right, you see. So, and then using that, you can, oh, oops, sorry about that. Sorry guys, the video cut. But yeah, so, and then from this step, let's just rewrite it, right? X to the -1 minus f of x g prime of x. So you just, my bad, there won't be a negative here anymore. Squared. So now you just cross multiply and you're left with this. Irrelevant. You can just, instead of having to do that, you can just use this the entire time. Okay, time for some examples. First one we have here. So let's identify our f of x. So let's say this is f of x. We'll say this is g of x. And just a quick tip, the quotient rule could get very messy very quickly. So make sure you keep track of your brackets and use nice handwriting, or else you will get confused. So f prime of x is going to be the derivative of the top one. So that's going to be derivative of -2 is 0. X is 1 minus 2x of the x squared minus 3x squared, right, times the bottom function, -3 minus 2x squared. Subtract. Now the derivative of the bottom is going to be -3, well 0. -2 is just going to be turn into 4, -4 x, right, times the entire top. So you can already see how it could get messy very quickly, right? Then put it all over -3 minus 2x squared, 2x squared, right? Cancel out these negatives just to make it nicer. So you could, actually let's identify what's what first. So this would be f prime of x, g of x, this is 4. This would be g prime of x, f of x, g of x. So you could actually multiply these out or whatever, and then collect your like terms or do some factoring. In my opinion, it's not really worth the time unless you're forced to do it, because at that point it's not calculus, it's just algebra. And here we're here to learn calculus right now, right? Next one. So let's identify our functions. F of x, g of x, f prime of x is, why am I doing that? Oh, sorry, quick confusion. Yeah, so I see. This is not this. Okay, so let's make this, you know what, for simplicity's sake, we'll make this h of x, right? H of x. H of x. H of x. Right. So here, now we have h prime of x, this should be h prime, is equal to, so derivative of that is just 0. 0 times this, still going to be 0, but let's just put it anyways, right? Minus 1, right? F of x times the derivative of g of x. Derivative of negative 2, 0. Derivative of 2x squared, 4x. Over negative 2 plus 2x squared. So one thing you could have realized is that this is just negative 2 plus 2x squared to the negative 1, right? So once you learn the chain rule, you don't even have to use the quotient rule. You could have just done the chain rule right there. I will show you what the chain rule is in the next video. Let's do this. Okay. Now let's do this. H prime of x. We're going to say this is f of x. This is g of x, right? Derivative of f of x. Negative 3 is 0. Negative 2x. Negative 2. Derivative of 2x cubed plus 6x squared, right? Let's put it over. Minus the first top part we just rewrite. 3x plus 2x cubed. Now derivative of the bottom, that's just 0, negative 2x, right? Negative 2 minus x squared, right? That's your derivative. This one should be, this one's easier. F of x, g of x, f prime of that. Oh, sorry, I am so used to writing the function f of x for some reason. So derivative of the top, 3 times 8x plus 2 minus 3x times 8. Very straightforward function. Okay. Next one. H prime of x, so derivative of the top again, right? I'm not going to write which one is what. So negative 2 plus 6x plus 3x squared times negative 3 minus 3x squared, right? Times, now we got to rewrite the top. See, this is what I mean by it could get very messy, right? So if you had to expand these, it would be a lot of work, right? It's already a very long line, so it would get very messy very quickly. So make sure you keep track of your brackets. And that is the tutorial on quotient rule. The quotient rule, there is actually no, it's just very systematic. You just derivative of this, multiply by that, minus derivative of that, multiply by this, divided by g of x squared, right? It's just very easy to get confused because of how messy it gets. So just watch out for that. Otherwise, have a good rest of your days.